What if I told you everything you thought you knew about hemp was wrong? What if the real revolution isn't happening in boardrooms or dispensaries, but on a rebel farm run by a veteran and his wife, also a veteran, where every bottle is handcrafted with grit, soul, and zero compromise? This isn't corporate. This is Slaphappy Hemporium, where small batch meets big purpose, and the plants get the respect they deserve. Today we're diving deep with John, veteran, alongside his wife Kara, also veteran and founder, and craft crusader on a mission to rewrite the rules and raise the bar. So buckle up, because this episode might just change the way you see hemp forever. You're tuned in with 420 Chief, so let's get to it and introduce my brother, John. Welcome in, John. How are you today?
Hey, thanks for having me. We're doing awesome, man.
I'm glad to hear it. Let's just dive right in. I went and met up with you last week. I think it was last Thursday, and kind of hung out almost all day long there at Slaphappy Hemporium in Rosebud, Missouri.
We had a
And
few
that
sessions on the board.
we did have a few sessions, but more than anything, I have to say I was taken to school. I was schooled on all things hemp, and there was just so much about it that I didn't know. So I wanted to say, first off, thank you for not only educating me, but showing me the difference between hemp and marijuana, and explaining to me and showing me as well the benefits through multiple methods of consumption right there in your store. But before we jump into any of that, let's talk a little bit about you. So, just for our audience, here at 420 Chief, my mission is always to educate and inform and share stories of our veterans and their stories of healing. And once again, this is a story about John, and maybe even a little bit about Kara, his wife, both Navy veterans, and how they found cannabis. And this isn't how you might expect it. It was very selfless. So, with that said, John, let's talk a little bit about your background as a CB.
That's right. I actually started off in the United States Marine Corps. I'm a Marine first. Then I evolved into a higher form of Marine life, a U.S. Navy Seabee. Did construction all over the world. Lots of contingency places. Did some places over in Iraq. Got to do a lot of things, build a lot of stuff. Our war stories are different. We talk about the things we built instead of all the firefights we get into. But still, same fun stuff we got to do. I built an office building, 30,000 square foot office building in less than 3 months. So I mean, we got to do really cool stuff over there. But when you ask about how we got into cannabis, in high school I was a normal cannabis kid. I grew up in the '90s, Cypress Hill, all that. I mean, remember, Cypress Hill told us to legalize it. The marijuana plant is the hemp plant. So just remember that in your mind while we talk. So as we go forward, I was like, hey, whatever, legalize it. I don't care. It's like alcohol. Don't tell me it's medicine. So I was okay, but don't tell me it's medicine kind of thing. My son got diagnosed with brain tumors in 2008, and by 2014, uh, he had to go start his protocol that he was on was failing, and the tumors were growing, so we had to start another one. That's when me and my wife joke. That's when we started our first felony, and we flew to Colorado that night. I was actually in St. Louis. I had just gotten selected to 40 under 40 for construction, well, in the city of St. Louis, for people kind of coming up in the business world. And we were at a photo shoot at the Missouri Transportation Museum. We booked a plane flight that night, flew to Colorado, and came back with grams of honey oil to start treating my son with cannabis oil. Long before we had medical in Missouri or anything, we said, no, we've read enough on it. This is going to do something. So we started getting into it where it was a gram a day. Learned out that it wasn't a gram a day. You need to look at different terpenes, cannabinoids, blend that all together to get your dosing. So we learned a lot over the years. Uh, Come 2017, I'd been on opiates for over 2 decades. And I went to the VA and I said I thought I was getting addicted to them. And they wanted to increase my dose. I was on an extended release morphine, 60 mil twice a day. I was taking 10 milligrams of morphine for pain. So I was basically on 60 milligrams of morphine and oxycodone for pain in between. So when I started looking at myself, it wasn't the fact I was trying to get stoned, because I could have sat there with the VA and been stoned out of my mind for all the rest of my life, free of charge, not have to worry about it. But it was about getting better. And we told the VA, hey, I think I'm getting addicted. They wanted to increase my dose. So I quit cold turkey. Worst 3 weeks of my life, best 3 weeks of my life. Because halfway through, my friend said, you've been playing with cannabis for your son. Why don't you do something for yourself? So I started looking into it for pain and things. And over the years, we found out that the opiates were masking the fact that my hips were destroyed. I got drugged down a highway behind a truck over in Naples, Italy in 1997. Destroyed my ankle, is what they told me. Didn't realize my hips got pushed out of socket, so they were never in the socket the whole time I was in. All this stuff, opiates mask all that pain. So I did all kinds of things, was running all over the country doing work in the construction world. And when I crashed hard because one, the VA wanted to change me and push me on the SSRIs. When I started taking Cymbalta, we were doing it for pain, but my family noticed a mood change in me, so we were starting to take that. But the VA wouldn't take care of it. So during the Obamacare, they took away that. My insurance stopped covering it, so I went to the VA, and that's when I went into that spiral of taking all these SSRIs that were supposed to help me, but ended up taking me from being 40 under 40 to being losing my job and being worse and spiraling. And if it wasn't for the support of Kara, I probably would have been one of the statistics, just because not that I was trying to do anything to myself. I went to the VA looking for help, and instead they were almost trying to kill me.
And that's a common story that we hear. And for those listening, just so you know, on this podcast, we talked about this a little bit with Will Wisner from Grunt Style Foundation about how those SSRIs and those opiates actually increase the likelihood of veteran suicide, which we already know is at risk. Not just in this nation, but globally. This is going on in Australia. This is going on in the UK. This is going on in Canada. This is going on big time here in the United States. And we know that number to be significantly higher. And there's a lot of reasons for that. There's good reasons for that. Some small towns don't want to put suicide on a death certificate. They want to put accident so that that family's still collecting insurance, and there's not that stigma that's so often tied to it. And so you covered so much there. I have to go back. I just absolutely have so much love and respect for you and your wife, Kara, and I'm so grateful for not only what you've endured, but how persistent you really have been. And when I heard your story and I realized you didn't get into this at all for any reason of your own, but rather to save the life of your child, that hit so hard in my heart. I was like, this is the most selfless mission, you know? And I, I, I begged John to come on the show and talk about it. And thank you for doing that. And before we go any further, can you walk us through a little bit of why you made that decision in the first place? Like, what was going on with your son with the doctors? And according to your research, I'd love for you to share a little bit more of that and how that helped your son.
Well, at the time, he had hydrocephalus bad. Hydrocephalus is where the ventricles in the brain are filling with fluid, causing pressure to build. A lot of veterans in our community that have had severe TBIs and things like that are familiar with the brain swell or having to have shunts and things like that to relieve that pressure. We were in the process of going through all that, looking at these options, and they told us that the chemotherapy we were on wasn't working. So we had to sit there, and I had been researching it already for about a year, but Kara had been hesitant. I said, there's something to it. I keep on seeing this stuff. And she's like, we're not giving our kid weed. How are you going to give our kid weed? What is he going to smoke it? What are we going to do? And it was, we had that whole learning process at the time where we had to realize what it was with oils. And we learned really quickly what it was. We got lucky. There was a great Facebook group called Canna Kids at the time with a lady named Tracy Ryan, huge out in California. Her daughter, Sophie, has the same tumor as our son, Charles. Now, her daughter, Sophie, they had a lot better success than we did because they're out in California in a legal state and they were working hand in hand with the doctors. Our doctors here knew we were committing felonies every time we got medicine for my son. So it was kind of hard to get it and get all the testing right as we did it. But that was the only time he had been on that chemotherapy protocol that we ever heard the word shrinkage. And that's one of the reasons why we use it, because it causes what's called atopsis, or in the tumors where the tumors themselves kill themselves. their cells go and kill themselves. It causes reduction of inflammation around those cells. THC is really good when we're treating in brain cancer patients because it works as an agonist. What it means, it brings that chemotherapy along with it. Because we always did it in conjunction with chemotherapy, because you can't just trust it on cannabis. It's a great tool, but it's a tool in the toolbox. You have to use other tools along with it. So with that chemotherapy, one of the problems with chemo is on brain tumors is it doesn't get past that blood-brain barrier. Well, cannabis becomes an agonist, and it brings through THC access into that blood-brain barrier. So it'll bring a lot of those chemotherapy agents, especially like ones like vincristine or vinblastine that are plant-based. It'll bring those along with it into the central nervous system and go after those nerve-based tumors. So that's where we really saw that was a useful thing to look at. We found a lot more information along the way. We run an organization now called 1,000 Ripples, where we help veterans and active cancer patients with free cannabinoid therapies. And we work with from patients like pancreatic cancer patients, where we know, look, with the way pancreatic cancer is so aggressive, we can only help with symptom mitigation and management. We can't promise you anything. That's why we tell everybody who's dealing with chemo or cancer that chemo is not something that's going to guarantee you that, hey, you take this and you're going to be cured. I know it's on social media like that, cannabis cures cancer, and there is some truth to that, but we don't have all the mechanisms. So we really got to get that research in there, but it can help mitigate a lot of the symptoms and offset like chemotherapy or radiation side effects.
What kind of outcomes did you see when going through the process with your son? I know you all were learning so much, and it's very individual based, but can you talk a little bit about that, if you saw improvements and what kind of worked for you?
We did with him. We saw once we were administering, and it takes a while for titration. And I'll tell you a quick story about titration. You, as a cancer patient, you're going to get up to almost a gram of each different type of cannabinoid sometimes a day. So you're talking about a lot of cannabinoids. When you talk THC in there, Delta 9 THC specifically, you can get up to, you're at 500 and 600 milligrams. Well, my wife had been watching for a long time, Kara, and she said, I want to know what he's taking. We were about 6 months, 7 months in at this time, and I think Charles was at a half a gram. And I said, you don't want to do that because he's titrated up. And she says, no, I want to know what he's feeling like. I said, you won't know because he's done this over months. So she was a typical mama bear and says, I'm going to see what my kid does. So she took a 500 milligram dose. Somebody hadn't taken, but maybe a 10 milligram at most ever in her life, and went, oh my God. And that's the thing people don't understand. When you get to these medicinal doses, it's time where I have to go to Kara when we talk to people that are new novices to cannabis. And when they talk about beverages that we have or some of these gummies we have, and let Kara describe to them. Because I've been, since 2017 now, I've been using cannabinoid therapies in place of opiates. And so I have a higher tolerance on those aspects. Now I've learned to use certain things from hemp, and that's, I guess, where we segue into hemp, where I could use different products like a Delta 8 THC to allow me to do a tolerance break so I can manage that so it doesn't become cost prohibitive to use cannabinoids. You can do those balancings. And that's where I learned about hemp. We wanted to get into the cannabis world, but in Missouri, that's locked up by a lot of different entities. So a friend of mine said, why aren't you looking at hemp? I said, I'm not making rope. I'm not doing doggy treats and stuff like that. I want to do people stuff, not with fake stuff. He said, well, first get that out of your mind that hemp is fake or fake weed or anything like that. I said, what do you mean? He goes, hemp is cannabis. He goes, the cannabis plant's always been the cannabis plant. It's always been known as a hemp plant until 1937, when DuPont and Harry Assenger went after the hemp plant because the hemp ropes, and they used Mexicans and blacks to do it. And they used the Mexican term marijuana to give this exotic connotation. This is something from exotic lands, and we didn't want this happening. And they used terms like, really racial terms at the time. We don't.
It was a whole racial campaign.
Yeah,
it really was a racial campaign.
And so hemp got where it was so cost prohibitive to make, it came off the pharmacopoeia. I mean, hemp was on the pharmacopoeia in the United States until the 60s. And then it came off right before they did the controlled schedule. So it actually has a history that got jaded by corporations. And so that's why we like to sit there and say we're not corporate. We're a small craft place. We do craft farming, we do craft production. We work with other craft small businesses to bring that about because corporate killed hemp, and hemp has a lot of benefits that people don't realize.
Let's talk a little bit about that. This is one of those times where when I ask the questions and you follow the trail of money, who was it that was behind killing hemp back then?
That was the paper industry of DuPont. DuPont in 1937, same year that the Marijuana Tax Act came out, going after hemp and marijuana. It's all the same, remember? So that happened in 1937. The same year, DuPont got its patent on nylon. The only thing that could beat nylon rope was hemp rope because nylon rope would stretch, hemp rope would stay true, would not give way. And so ships were still using it. In fact, because of the tax act, we were in World War II, there was a shortage on hemp because people stopped growing it. So the War Department came up with the Hemp for Victory campaign to get people growing hemp again because they weren't using DuPont's nylon on the shipping lines or on cargo vessels. So we tried to do that again. It faltered out because they only did it for the war term. It didn't let hemp come back into the self. Europe, Asia went crazy with hemp, while and Canada did too. While the U.S. regarded hemp as horrible, evil, and bad, and not even looking at medicinal properties and everything like that. I mean, if you remember, the Sacklers in the 90s told us opiates were non-addictive. When I got drugged down the highway behind a truck at Balboa Hospital in San Diego, when they did experimental surgery on my ankle that I found out 2 years ago didn't work, they gave me opiates. They gave me Vicodin, and they said, "Here, I know it says take 1 to 2 every 3 to 4 hours, or 2 to 4 hours. I want you to take 2 to 3 every 4 hours." I said, "Why?" He goes, "Well, if you snow yourself on them, you'll be able to come off these faster. You won't hurt as much." I said, "Okay." And that's my introduction to was the opiates, because before then it was just you got your teeth pulled or something hurt really bad, or you broke a bone, you got some Tylenol 3 with codeine. Then the Vicodins came out, the Percocets. That was a game changer. They gave you that for everything now. In fact, it was the VA that did a study that gave opiates the green thumb and green light. That's where, hemp can replace all these things, the same as marijuana can. The difference is, the only difference between hemp and marijuana is 0.3% delta 9 THC. It's not a God-made fact that that's what's hemp, that's what's marijuana. It's not anything else, but some study back in the 70s did and said, this is hemp, this is marijuana. But the same cannabinoids that are found in hemp are found in marijuana. And what we found, and why we got into the hemp industry, is that we could have, like, let's say a standard gummy. A standard gummy that you're going to have is 5 grams. Now, that 5 grams means I can have 15 milligrams of delta 9 THC in it and still be federally legal. Now, that's a good point to understand, because if you go into a marijuana dispensary, especially in Missouri, they scan your ID. They scan your ID to track to see if you're going to buy more than 3 ounces in a day. They scan your ID if you're a medical patient. They keep track of you that way. Well, that means you just violated federal laws if you have anything to do with buying ammunition or a firearm. That same doesn't hold true for hemp. Being federally illegal, you can go buy those. So that's where our brothers and sisters that are looking for relief or pain or certain things like that can go into these hemp stores around the country and grab these hemp products that are sitting there that are federally legal, that they can get that relief that you can get from cannabis, because it's the same thing. And a lot of these hemp manufacturers are really doing a lot of good craft where they're putting in terpenes into the gummies. Like the gummy lines we carry all have strain specific terpenes reintroduced to them. So you know what you're getting. So instead of having to smoke and get that strain, you can now sit there and take a gummy and still get the same effects of that strain.
And this is one of the stigmas that I wanted to talk about, and one of the educating bullet points of this podcast episode that just really wowed me when I came over to Slaphappy Hemporium and hung out was, you told me all of this, but then you showed me. You had your products right there. There was some pre-rolls. I went out to the smoke deck there that you're dedicating in Waxy's.
Waxy Sports.
Yeah.
Although we might have to, I think I like that. I think we might have to give it that Navy tradition and call it Waxy Smoke Deck.
Oh yeah, the smoke deck. That's perfect. But I was able to see, for me, you let me try it out, and it wasn't like a taste difference like I thought. And I'm a big nerd when it comes to strains, hence my book, Strains for Pains, to document, your journey. And sometimes, I forget to do that. And I forget, like, if there's a strain that's giving me anxiety, I need to, probably document it and avoid, because that's a real thing. They're not all for everyone. But what you just talked about a little bit was isolating those specific healing terpenes, and not just that, but also combining them for maximum medicinal benefits. Is that something that you can talk a little bit more about? Because I was mind blown to realize these are the same terpenes. Like it's all the same thing that's doing the healing.
That's the biggest thing. I like to tell people indica, sativa, and hybrid is a huge, great selling point. It's an easy way of dumbing down cannabis. Awesome. Easy way of dumbing it down. The real difference between sativa and indica's got fat leaves, sativa's got little narrow leaves. Hybrids, guess what? They're all hybrids because there's not a pure single strain out there yet. I don't think we've found anymore. They've been so bred so much now. So that's kind of a quick, short, and skinny on it. So what you need to focus on is terpenes. Terpenes are the thing that are really what everybody focuses on. And when people think about indica, they think about it indica couch lock. Well, what they're talking about is the terpene mercerine. Mercerine is a muscle relaxant, and so that's what gives you your couch lock. So what you're going to look for is certain strains. Now, like we grow CBD, it has to be a good farmer that can grow great THCA, high THCA flower, good terpenes at 0.3%. You really got to be a damn good grower to grow it. That's what they don't tell you about this, because it's the same thing as what you're getting in the dispensaries, but we just have to make sure it stays at 0.3% to give you what you're looking for. But at the same time, we've talked about blending. We sit there with a lot of our flower. We'll blend it with other people that are bringing in a high THCA flower, even in dispensary flower. Because I have a strain right now that we're giving to Reverend Warriors that we give. It's called Admiral's Kush. It's a pre-roll. And I'll tell you what, that is so high in mycerine that you sit there and you mix it with anything and you're going to have that great body relaxation high that you're looking for. And just by itself, we got people that drink. We roll it up in pre-rolls and say, instead of going out and having a drink, go out and smoke one of these. It's not going to get you high, but it's going to get your body relaxed to what you're looking for. Because most of the time when we drink after work or something like that, we just want that relaxation. We're looking for that alcohol to relax us. So instead of toxifying our body, let's detox it and have a smoke break and just kind of relax.
Absolutely, and I love that. So much better for you, less risk than that of alcohol. And I know for myself, when I'm relaxing at the end of the day, I prefer flower. That's my favorite form of consumption, even though I'm starting to get more into the beverages. But
Look what we got, though.
oh, you got some of the willies?
We got willies. And that's what I'm telling people. If Willie's behind hemp, and these are THCA rich hemp, they're like 23% with a nice terpene profile. They give us COAs and everything on it. Just really good stuff. If Willie can get behind it, it's not fake weed. It's not anything else. This is something you can have access to that really doesn't impact your rights adversely. You don't have to have a stigma about it. You can come into a shop like ours. You've seen our shop and lounge. You come in, you don't feel like you're going into a head store. You don't feel like you're going into that. No knock on the culture, because we have nods to the culture all around here. But in order to get people to understand what's going on here, we really have to show what hemp is and what the difference is on this.
And I'm always grateful for people like yourself who are willing to come on and talk about their stories of healing. You started off by telling us how you got into it, and it was for your son with the tumors. And you later introduced it into your regimen. And can we talk about that just a little bit, if you don't mind? What got you to that point, and then why did you start consuming? How did you start consuming, and what did you notice from that?
Well, the whole thing was I was running around all across the country. I was an executive in design and construction firm, and just really running my body rapid. And I was just always hurting no matter what. So I kept on going back to the VA, and they kept on saying, "Hey, we just need to increase your dose." I did it for a long time until I was like, "We just can't keep doing this. This is going to kill me." And I had been reading enough. I tried talking to my doc. I was like, "Hey, can we try and put me on Marinol or something like that?" I said, "I know it's for cancer pain, but at least let's try something other than these opiates." And we tried everything from gabapentin to, my liver, my pancreas shut down on a lot of stuff because of all the different opiates and Tylenol and everything I got. I have 8 fatty cysts in my liver from Tylenol and Percocets and all that. So I mean, it's like I went through all these things. I can tell you opiates. I mean, I've from fentanyl all down. Hell, at one time they had me on what's the horse trank? Ketamine. I did that. I learned that I do not like ketamine. I will tell you that. Some people might find it good, but I tried everything, and I was just amazed at how much cannabinoid therapies really work. And so, in my goal to get off of the opiates, about like I said, halfway through, about a week and a half in, I started playing around with my friend that was out in California. I said, I need to make something functional. So she started making a CBD one with me. And we really kind of started tuning it in, looking at different terpenes, started dialing those in to after stuff happened where she wasn't out there anymore. And I got into the hemp world. The first thing I did was go back to my old notes, started looking at it. And then I'm a tech nerd. So I went to AI. I started scouring NIH for studies on terpenes. A lot of everything we do and our blends on everything, we do based off of studies at NIH for what they do for terpenes, because they've been studying terpenes for a long time. Don't think about cannabis, because terpenes are in lemons, oranges, broccoli, all the different foods and things you eat have terpenes and flavonoids, just like cannabis, and they
Black
are very
pepper.
effective to help us.
Yeah, it's in everything. It literally is, even in black pepper. Um,
I saw somebody said they like to smoke, they like to cook with it. We agree. One of the things about it is we like having anti-inflammatories back in our diet. So we lived in Italy. Well, we were stationed there for 3.5 years. So we have an olive oil infused CBD isolate infused olive oil to get those anti-inflammatories back in our diet. So as long as you're just doing some little sauteing, or if you're doing olive oil or salad dressings, or you're making some desserts, all that CBD stays in there without any degradation. Not until you get about 386, 400 degrees will you start seeing degradation in it. We have it where it's 50 milligrams per tablespoon. So you can really, eat your cannabis, smoke your cannabis, drink your cannabis, like the drinks we make. I mean, there's all different ways of getting cannabis into your system and getting cannabinoids in your system. And the key is we used to do this through the foods we ate. We used to feed animals hemp seed, and they'd eat hemp flour and all this stuff. And we stopped doing all that because we said it was bad. And then we started manufacturing foods, and we got all these highly processed foods and all that stuff. So if we start putting this back into our systems, in our diet, and we use the fiber, like we talked about, I'm gonna grab it. I'm gonna show this hemp seed fiber. I want you guys to see this. This is not really about I'm selling this, but for every gram, it's 47 grams of fiber and 29 grams of protein. So if you're looking to add
wow.
protein in your smoothies, shakes, those things, you could really do it. And that's the hemp plant that does it. I mean, if we talk about it, I love hemp. These are hemp. My overalls are made from hemp. Heck, behind me, this is like my wife's shoes. They're made from hemp. We have them on offer here. We do out here, everything is about hemp. We got cups that are made from hemp, straws that are made from hemp. We're trying to show, because one of the things, the big difference between us and marijuana, besides that 0.3%, I can give you most of the same products, but the marijuana industry, for every gram of product they have, because they're federally listed, they have to destroy all the stalks, stems, and leaves and everything. It's ground up, burned up, thrown away. So they can't use it. For us, for every gram of product, that 7 grams is not waste. We send ours off to become either clothing later on or turned into pulp for making paper or turned into plastic. I mean, it could all be used. We send it off to be used as we grow. So the plant gets full use. In
That was
fact,
a
we even harvest the roots here because the roots, we're in the process of building a balm right now. The roots have cannabinoids, some of these really good minor cannabinoids that are awesome topically and great that we're looking at putting in combined with hemp protein and making a hemp root protein so that you can add into your shakes because of the cannabinoids that are there are just amazing at some of this relief that we're looking for.
I love hearing it, and you've kind of segued to it, but I wanted to talk a little bit about your storefront, Slaphappy's Hemporium, there in Rosebud, Missouri. Because when I spent the day there, I realized this is not what I was expecting at all. This is a place where you can go and tour kind of the store, and it's not just consuming products. Like you showed, there's clothes in there. There was some lavender in there. There's all kinds of topicals, oils.
Well,
There was even chicken snacks in there, dog toys in there.
like our good friend Waxy Brown said, we are the Cracker Barrel of weed. So I mean, I laughed when he said it. I kind of laughed at him, but then I realized we really are because you come in here and you have all the products. Oh, hold on one second. Here, keys.
I love those hemp
Somebody
overalls,
lost the
by the
keys to
way.
the cash register. I had to give somebody the keys to the cash register. People, I apologize. Where was I at? I apologize. She got me.
We were talking about the store and how everything in there is
Oh,
hemp.
so yeah, everything's hemp. We wanted to showcase what hemp can do. We got clothes in here. We got shoes in here, like I showed you. We're trying to get Patagonia, like I wear in here, because they have a hemp line. The reason why we want them in here is because they hold up. I'm a farmer. I had a pair I wore, and I only had one pair of them. I wore for 2 seasons straight, and no holes or tears except for where my vape pen was, where I was pulling it out all the time. And then that's when Karen told me I need to cut back on vaping a little bit, maybe.
You're
But
supposed to just
the
say,
rest,
"Excuse me," while I whip this out before every time, and maybe you'll do it less.
so we wanted to showcase that because this plant can do a lot, and I do a lot here in Missouri at the Capitol and stuff. And we're working with one state rep where we're trying to use hemp to remediate the soil from all the atomic waste damage that's here. So there's wells that are out in St. Charles that are affected. So we're trying to work with her to get hemp out there to remediate the soil to clean up that water. So now you can actually have clean water out there and stuff by hemp. I mean, they used
Let's
it at Chernobyl to clean up Chernobyl from a nuclear spill like that.
Absolutely. So what I noticed though, walking around the store, you have a good mix of hemp products, and you carry just various brands and support other hemp growers, such as you had some samples of hemp hardwood floors in there that were just beautiful, and you're getting
Well,
some of that put up.
yeah, we are a hempwood floor retailer. I'll also be installing floor if people need it. I could go ahead and do it. I was a CB, so IR construction guy. It'll just be slow at going because you hire an old guy. We go slow, but we do it right. But we'll be doing those things where we show those products out. We're working with. I'm working on setting up my first lunch and learn with an interior design firm to have them come out and learn about hempwood flooring because it's more than just the flower. It's all this product that we can have and really show a sustainable, usable future. You can make. We're going to try and talk with the tiny homes guys about using hempcrete inside for your insulation for all these tiny homes because it's better there. You can even have hemp bat insulation that's better than the recycled cotton or fiberglass insulations out there because it's mold resistant, mildew resistant. So there's a lot of different things we can use hemp for. And at the end of the day, we're talking the marijuana plant. The marijuana plant, this is that 1937 word. The hemp plant is the marijuana plant. So once we get federally declassified or whatever we want to do off of it, we can start actually using the whole plant. My goal is once one day to come out to our Hemporium, and you can go out into our garden and you'll see a couple different strains growing from a high THC to a low THC with a high CBD. So you can see the differences where you see indicas and sativas growing out in the wild next to each other. So you can really get that experience, and no longer is it scary, but it's there. You want to toss them here? So we just got some stuff in. New hemp washcloth. Whoop, I'm backwards. Hemp washcloths, and hold on, I gotta grab this one's bigger. And hemp towels.
So cool.
So we try and everything we do is really about the plant, because when you look at it, not only is this plant good for the environment, good for our economy, if we can get businesses going here in the United States, we can build hemp businesses doing this. We can make gasoline out of hemp. There's hemp ethanol. Henry Ford did it in 41. He did hemp biodiesel too. So he had his car ran on hemp biodiesel in the summer, and in the winter where that would gel, he ran on hemp ethanol. So he had a flex fuel car before flex fuel ever existed. I mean, hemp can really do a lot of stuff.
It really does.
You can use it socially.
Absolutely, and we'll get to that. But I would like to talk more about yours and Kara's products specifically. I know while I was there, you let me try some of your Mellocello.
Oh yeah, our Mellocello is going to be coming out soon.
You sent me home with some of that. I let my mom try it, and I had to send her home with it. She loved it. She even when we went to, she even got some at Doobie's. Loved it. She's just loving that stuff. So let's talk a little bit about that, the purpose behind that, and then a little bit about your other products that you and Kara have.
Well, first thing is we actually, that's how we got into all this. At 22, well, 21 actually, I was sitting around and we saw 4 hemp spirits, and we ordered theirs. We tasted, and I was like, it's okay. I think I could do better. I'm not trying to be a conceited little shit, but I was. And we started playing around with different drinks, and I was like, they just weren't hitting. And because we got some to play with online, you could buy some D8, and at the time D9 wasn't a big thing, so we were just playing around with it. And then I finally got one with the limoncello I played around with, and I said, well, let me see if I could make a non-alcoholic version of this. And it was good. Kara says, why don't you start a company? I'm like, I am not doing the business stuff. I've tried that before, no good. She said, well, I'll do it for you, and you will work for me. She's close, so I will say that.
Big shout out, Kara. We love you, Kara.
She is the best boss to work for. I will say that. We never fight over anything, ever, ever. I'm giving you the finger. She just told me I'm number one.
One of one, baby. I'll take it.
So we started playing with that flavor. We came out with a still version of our Mellocello. The name Slaphappy and Mellocello all came about the same time. We were on a car ride, riding around, and we were just shooting names back and forth, and it just kind of, they both stuck, and we went from there. And then an opportunity came up for us to can it. We canned it. We loved how it came out. We weren't as happy with the can labeling and stuff like that, and so we also do testing. The testing on it came back a little inconsistent, so it's hard with beverages to get a great consistent testing, but it was far enough off for us where we were like, we're going to go ahead and pull this for a while, and we're going to work with another company and do it. And in doing such, we're going to have printed cans. It's going to be nice and printed on the can now. It's not going to be a paper label on there, and it's just really good. And we're able to come out another flavor too.
But not only that, but you're going from a 5 milligram to a 10 also, correct?
Right. One of the things we learned with the store, dealing with all these distributors out there, the 5 milligrams are not selling. The 5 milligrams and below really aren't selling. We've only found one distributor that has some. So we have some 3 and 5 milligrams, but very few, because most everybody across the board is moving to 10. So we decided to follow what the industry is kind of going to, and went to that 10 milligram mark on this new version. So everything we do now is going to be at 10 milligram as far as we go forward. But the second one we're going to do is called torpedo juice. Now, this is a nod back to our naval heritage. Back in World War II, Navy sailors, being Navy sailors, found out that torpedoes were fueled by 180 proof ethanol, so they started drinking them. Bad problem when the Japanese are starting to shoot at you and you go to shoot back and the torpedo goes plop and just falls down. So, in order to fix this, the Navy started denaturing it. So this meant they put something in it where you could taste it and it tasted horrible, so people knew they didn't drink it, or so they thought. Sailors, being sailors, decided that if we filter this through bread, it doesn't taste that bad, but it still doesn't taste good. So if we add a whole bunch of pineapple juice to it, we can get it like 15% kind of drink to drink. And that's how torpedo juice was formed. So our torpedo juice is a little alcoholic nod flavor in there with pineapple heavy. And one of the things we're going to do with that is 30 cents from every can is going to go to veterans organizations. We're going to give Grunt Style Foundation's Cannabis Fund 10 cents for every can. We're going to give Irreverent Warriors St. Louis 10 cents for every can. And then we're going to give VFW Post 12 243 in Union, Missouri. I'm the junior bison, and Kara's the chaplain for. We're going to give them 10 cents for every can once that goes on sale. So that's one thing we'll be doing to try and give back. A lot of our mission is to give back.
I'm really excited for that. And you just touched base on the VFW. And I have to say, I've been invited to join, I don't want to exaggerate, so I'm going to say like 40 or 50. And I've never done it. I've never been willing to make that commitment. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's always been because I struggled with alcohol for so many years, and it almost took me, and it did take so many people I know, and I just didn't want to go in there. I always thought that I had to be on guard. Somebody's going to be obnoxious. I'm going to be over inundated. I'm overstimulated. I'm going to want to throw down, and that's just horrible. When I quit drinking, I didn't find that. I don't find that with people I consume with. Like, even if I'm at like Doobie's Consumption Lounge at a concert, it can get pretty hectic because of the people and the music and the smoke, but I'm not on high alert, like watching my back all the time, because it's a totally different type of culture. There are some, things that can come up here or there, but it's not the same, and it's something that helped me quit drinking. I quit smoking. Anyways, at this VFW in Union, it's non-alcoholic. And
Yeah,
to me, that
our
makes
big
it
thing
more
is that.
open and welcoming. Like, okay, I'm not, you know, I don't have that where I'm like, I don't really want to go because of alcohol or drinking and things like that.
And that was one of the biggest things we saw. It's those of us that started it were a core group. Most of us are younger generation, Desert Storm, OIF, OEF vets. We tried doing things at a different VFW post, and we met resistors from the old guard. The same resistance they met when they started, when they went from World War II to Vietnam. I guess they felt it's a rite of passage. They needed to give our generation the same thing. We kind of said, to hell with it. There's enough of us. Let's try and do something different. We're tired of the VFW being that, the same corner bar down on the bar, the same corner bar down the street. We didn't want to do that. We wanted to go into a place where we had family involved in certain things. So our commander, Annie Stampfield, who also happens to be in the hemp industry, she said, look, we want to do this. We want to make a post that's about connecting veterans to their families, to their communities, and to their benefits. We want to do that. We want to do it in a world where they don't have to feel like they're coming to a bar they can come to. Right now, we don't have a post home per se. We have a temporary post home at the East Central Community College campus, but we do even offer Zoom meetings for those people that just can't make it into a VFW. We wanted to make it open to a lot of people and open this up so more people can attend, because we want you to connect with your family. So say you get home from a hard day's worth of work, we don't want you to have to come into the VFW to come into the VFW for a meeting without having to actually see what's going on. You can come in on a Zoom meeting so you can see your kids, spend time with your kids instead of hurrying about, jump in the shower, get ready, go to the V to get to a meeting, so you miss out on your family. We want you to spend the time with your family and still participate in these meetings. So we give you those different avenues to do that.
Now, are veterans from across the nation eligible to join this specific VFW post?
We don't have post requirements that you have to live in Union or be from there. In fact, I live in a different county. I live in a town south of Herman. I have a farm there. My store is in Rosebud, Missouri, and down the road in Union is where my post is. There's no requirements on that. We do a lot of things different. We're going to start doing events where, you know, I'll let the cat out of the bag because maybe this will do my recruiting job and I can beat my wife on recruiting because she's got me beat on getting new members in. We are getting ready to try and put together one of the best fundraisers you've ever seen. Right down from where we are, there's Piccadilly Go-Kart Racing. And we are going to put together the VSO 500 where we go out and you have teams. You're going to go out and race in the cars, and you're going to have your team. Your pit crew is going to be on the inside. Now, the pit crew is going to do stuff that can penalize you. We found out they could slow down or stop the cars on the track while they're driving. They could control them remotely. So just like Mario Kart, if your team screws up, you're going to get penalized on points and stuff like that while you're riding the race. So we're putting that together. We're working together with them so we can do this fundraiser, get people involved in stuff that's not about going out and drinking, but it's more about going out and getting the family involved because kids can ride in these things. They have side by side, so dad and the kid can ride together on this race and they can participate together. The family can be the pit crew out there, or a group of friends can do the pit crew, and it's about getting all these different veteran service organizations out. Now, VSO normally stands for Veteran Service Officer a lot of times when we talk, but we're talking about this VSO is for Veteran Service Organizations. So we want to get the American Legion out there, disabled veterans. We want to get all these different veteran organizations, Grunt Style, Irreverent Warriors, and all competing to have this fun and raise money to be divvied out between all those different organizations that come to this.
That sounds exciting, and definitely keep me in touch because I'm sure the 420 Chief fam or even the Break Stigmas fam would love to get involved and be a part of this. Because through my interviews and my travels, I've talked with so many veterans who feel isolated at home because they're afraid to go to a place like the VFW with their veteran brothers and sisters because they're still stuck. They're stuck on coping with alcohol, and they're still showing those signs, that someone that's going through healing, that's further along in on their healing journey, it makes it so much harder for them, and they just want to stay away from that kind of a vibe. And so I'm so grateful for you all and for allowing me to join. And I found out, shout out to Will Wisner from Grunt Style Foundation. He too is also a member, and I think we're all considered founding members of this one, correct?
Well, actually, if you want to be on the charter for a VFW post for the next, I think we're at 60 days now. The charter is open. So if you join and sign up now, you can actually have your name indelibly etched onto the charter of this brand new style VFW post that's coming out. So a new way of moving forward and really being the start for our generation to say, this is our stake in the ground. This is what we're taking. And I think it's going to handle very well.
And since you got me on board, I got to
tell you. So this is who our post is named after. This is Corporal Russell Makowski. He served in Iraq and was killed in Iraq in 2006. And he was from Union, trying to make sure you guys get a good picture of him. He was from Union, and his dad and mom are auxiliary members of our post. So not only do we have a brand new VFW, we have an open charter for a VFW auxiliary. So maybe you can't get into the VFW, but you can get into the auxiliary, or maybe your spouse wants to join and be a part of something. This is where you're going to see a VFW and auxiliary really working together to get those families united in things. We're going to do things like mental health days. We're going to go out and do outings. We're really going out with the community and really getting that community engagement. And it's something that VFWs do, but not in the way that we're pulling forward. We really want to get ours out there where we're really doing some service days and getting the community involved And so there's not that disconnect we see a lot of times between veterans and our civilian counterparts. I mean, I'm a civilian now, but at the same time, we have a little bit different mindset than some of our fellow countrymen.
Well, I love talking about it because that's something that's one of the reasons that Sonny and I founded the Break Stigmas nonprofit organization, was to bridge that gap between veterans and civilians, and just make it about being human and supporting one another. And it's amazing when I hear about events and organizations and businesses even like yours that are going out of their way to get people to get out of their house, to get people to, just have those conversations and unite and heal together, because we all know we're better together. It's one thing, to sit at home and work on yourself, but it's a whole nother when you have a whole group or a whole community of people there to support you and stand behind you and share information of so many learning experiences like you've talked about this entire episode. It's a lot about learning. And that's why I asked you to come on here today, because when I was in your shop, I was just blown away. There was some sweet folks, some sweet old ladies that would come in and peruse the shop, and I was just mind blown at the amount of options that there are just from hemp products. And I was especially proud to see that you did have strain specific products so that people know exactly what it is they're taking in. I was even more proud to learn that you were terpene specific, especially when it comes to healing, because at the end of the day, that's what this plant is all about, is healing. And thank you so much for sharing as much information and doing as much as you do. When I met you and Kara, it inspired me so much, because I'm like, oh my gosh, it never stops. They have, they're taking care of their son, they're married, they're growing, they've got this storefront, they're sponsoring and supporting so many other veteran and non-veteran organizations. While I was there, just in that 6 hours I think I hung out, I got to meet another hemp grower, who schooled me, shared products and stories with me. I got to meet another CBD farm, and magazine writer. It was just what a beautiful day, what a beautiful place, and nobody left there less educated. Everyone that came in received some type of hemp education, and nothing was forced on them. And I was so grateful.
What did you think about the enlightenment on the THCA conversation? Because I
That blew
know
me away.
dispensaries talk about hemp as fake weed, and what people don't realize is most of the dispensary stuff is the same as ours. The only difference is their delta 9 concentration is like zero point 0.9 or 1.2 or something like that, where ours can't get above zero point 0.3. So it shows our growers are actually really dedicated and have really bred strains specific to meet what the federal law's guidelines are with this plant, and give you the ability to go out as a consumer and buy it at such a reduced price, because what we sell a quarter for here is so much cheaper than what you're going to find it for in the dispensary. Our carts are cheaper. I mean, I have 2 gram disposables that cost the same as a 1 gram with no battery on it at a dispensary. So it's about getting that cheaper, not cheaper, but more economical cost of a product. Because what you do in the marijuana world is you're paying for the government telling you the plant is dangerous. The plant is completely dangerous. And it's like, what do you mean the plant's dangerous? The only dangerous thing about the plant is how the government handles it, because you're not going to die from it. Alcohol, you can die. They just found out the nicotine packs. These kids are overdosing on nicotine now and dying on mom and dad's nicotine packs. So really, at the end of the day, most of the time when it comes to these things, and they say it's for the kids, it's because the parents aren't taking care of their stuff and aren't being responsible. We need to get parents to be responsible.
And we've got to get people informed and educated. And that's why I'm so grateful that you came on to help share some of this information. I learned so much in your store, Slaphappy Hemporium, there in Rosebud, Missouri, that I had to have you on to kind of help explain that. And when you sat me down and you showed me from the medicinal dispensary, the active ingredients versus the active ingredients from hemp, and it's exactly the same. It's just that you're controlled on specific that D9. It's like that's not even the major acting ingredient. So it's just it blew my mind altogether. I did get to smell your topicals too, and I've got to say those were fire. That's great quality.
Thanks. We feel medicine shouldn't smell like medicine.
That's great. We got to wrap it up, but where can our listeners go to find you, support you, maybe get some of this limoncello in the future, maybe try some of your topicals?
Well, we are at the Slaphappy Hemporium at 210 US 50 Rosebud, Missouri. You can Google us. We show up there. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook as Slaphappy Hemp Company. Instagram too.
Do you have a
I think I'm on
website?
Twitter. We have a website, slaphappyhemp.com. www. If anybody uses that still, it works that way too.
Perfect. Slaphappyhemp.com. And I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of questions about this. And I have to make a comment about going back to the VFW that since you did get me involved in this, I do want to have some type of involvement. And with our brother Waxy's passing recently, we went to the funeral yesterday. His spiritual guru and business consultant asked me, well, what am I going to do? What's my vision of carrying on that mission look like? And to me, that was kind of easy. In the moment, I felt it, and I realized that me joining that specific VFW, I would like, as a chief, it's like, let's put an SOP down, let's make this repeatable process, and let's open these up across the country. Let's make this open to veterans across the country, even if it's just adding more virtual posts. We'll figure it out, but it's strength in numbers, and if we can get enough numbers that we can get our own building paid for by the VFW, and they see the numbers and they see the healing, it speaks for itself. It's one of those things that I talk about all the time, and Waxy talked about this, and it was those actions. You can see the truth through people's actions. So many people say that they're helping and they say that they're supporting. At the end of the day, I can see what you guys are doing. I can see you opened a store. I can see that you're spreading the knowledge and information, and your open arms for veterans, providing a safe space for them to come, get educated, and heal without any type of pressure, and hang out and have a good time. And to me, that is healing. That is medicine. Even if it's just social medicine, getting veterans out of their house and socializing together, talking about what works for them. At the end of the day, that's a W, you know?
Oh yeah, and we'd love to host a 420 Chief event here. That way we can get your listeners out there. They can sit there and experience the world of hemp. We are 420 friendly because let's face it, you come out to my porch. The only thing I require you to do, your drinks you have to buy from us. So whether it be a hemp drink or a non-hemp drink, uh, your food, we have great restaurants around here that you can get food at. You can bring in your own food, bring in your own little charcuterie jar. We got a garden area you can sit in. It's outside with picnic tables. We got a screen porch sitting area where we have two tops throughout. Go out, have some fun with your friends. We have yard games, yard Yahtzee. We have big, huge Connect Four. It's about having fun and relaxing, and that's really what we're about. We want the plant to unite people, and that's kind of what we do in that VFW post we have. Oh, we do have membership sign up at our post. We have those forms there. But our VFW post, that's the same thing. We want to do that, unite people with the plant and making it open so everybody's engaged.
Most of my listeners, I believe, are out of state. So where can someone who's maybe in Maryland or Connecticut find signups for the VFW or perhaps the VFW auxiliary so that they can help out?
I will have to talk to my commander. I'm not sure on the online stuff, but I can figure it out. And we might have to just snail mail stuff, where we might have to mail somebody a form up and have them send it to us and do it this way until we
Okay.
get things rolling. Like I said, we're a brand new concept in the way we're doing this post.
Outstanding. Amazing. Well, I'm going to close this out with what advice or information would you give a veteran who's on the fence about trying hemp as healing? What would you have to say to them?
Well, I mean, if you're already looking at cannabinoid therapies with marijuana or whatnot, same stuff, so don't be scared of it. If you haven't looked at any cannabinoid therapies, know one, It's not that bad. Talk to your fellow veterans. I guarantee you, 9 times out of 10, somebody in your group has used cannabinoid products for either mental health reasons or for digestive reasons or for pain reasons, all kinds of different reasons. So reach out to them, ask. That's the easiest thing to do is ask. There's people that ask.
Just ask. Is that it, brother? You good?
Yes, sir. I think we got it all.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story, you and Kara and your family, your story of healing. And I'm so grateful to know you and be on this journey at the same time because I don't look at this as competition anywhere. You know, and when I met you and I saw the vendors that you supported, I saw that these guys are standing together. At the end of the day, the biggest problems you're running into come from the Capitol building, from a political office, not from any competition, not from any bad publicity. It's political. And so I'm grateful to be a part of that and help make a change for something that's helped so many other veterans that we've heard about and save lives. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about, is saving lives and helping one another in healthier ways and offering healthier alternatives. Like we say, it's not always for everyone. So thank you, John. Thank you so much, Kara. You all are so
Thanks for having me
amazing,
on.
and I'm grateful to know you, and I'm excited to see what we're gonna do nationwide with this VFW, because I think that's gonna save and help out so many other veterans. So, John, I'm gonna close you out. Hang out backstage for just a moment. My goodness, that was a good one. That was a good one. What you just heard isn't just a story about hemp. It's a story about healing, about defiance, and about doing things different for the people who need it the most. Veterans are being handed bottles of pills that numb, that sedate, that disconnect, and then we're told to just hang in there, knowing that the risk of these increases the likelihood of suicide. But we're done hanging in there. We're done watching our brothers and sisters fall through the cracks. This right here is another tool for the fight, a healthier option, a real alternative, a plant with power to calm minds, ease pain, and reconnect souls. The truth's simple. Chemicals kill, cannabis heals, just like Mendo Dope said at Doobie's this last Saturday. And it's time the world started to listen. This has been 420 Chief, breaking stigmas, building community, and doing our part to end the veteran suicide crisis. Please share this live out to someone that maybe it'll resonate, maybe someone that you know that's on the fence or that needs to hear it. Please check out my website, 420chief.net, and also the nonprofit breakstigmas.com to help support the mission. You can pick up merch. You can pick up my book, Strains for Pains. Please do what you can, but more importantly, just share it out. Let's work together in 22 a day. Lead with love. Lead with change.